Hello everyone, welcome to Middle Fantasy. I am your host Zack, and before I start this video, I just want to give a special shout out to Scott, who was a real fun person to have on the show. We laughed, we cried, we got real emotional in this episode, so thank you so much. But fear not, if you really did enjoy this video and you want more Stormlight content in your life, because after Rythm of War, that's all you can think about right now, we didn't just record one video, but we recorded 2 videos for your guys' viewing pleasure. So we actually have it on Scott's channel, the Blue Lotus, so there's going to be a link right up here. So check that video out. We actually talk about our top 10 favorite Rythm of War moments, and that's a whole lot of fun. So check that video out once you're done with this video, or vice versa, because maybe you want to know more about Rythm of War before you get to prediction stuff. But I do have to warn you, there are some spoilers in this episode, so if you haven't finished Rythm of War, you might want to wait a little bit. Though before I leave, I just have to show you all my little chasm fiend, Rosie. Yeah. Oh no, I think she might just be a cute spread. We haven't decided what she is yet. But hope you all enjoyed this video. Bye everyone. See ya. Hello everyone, welcome to Middle Fantasy. I'm your host Zack, and today I'm doing a very special Stormlight video. We're going to be talking about predictions for the next book, Stormlight, insert name of literature in the Stormlight universe here. I'm so excited. I'm actually joined by a very wonderful guest. Why don't you introduce yourself, my friend?
What's up, guys? My name is Scott. I am a YouTuber. My channels are Dreamlit, and probably the one that makes more sense is Blue Lotus. So, yeah, make a lot of content about, like, say, Avatar or entertainment stuff, basically.
Yeah, the funny thing is when we started doing this collaboration, we did it randomly. Like, hey, we should do something together. Yeah. And weird things started happening. Like, oh, you're from the same hometown? I'm from the same hometown. What's your graduation year? 1 year before me. Wait, that means we went to high school together. What?
Yeah, we didn't know at all. So that was weird. I reached out to you because, like, I wanted to do content with, like, people who are into Stormlight Archive, because my friends unfortunately don't read that book. Yeah.
Well, where we live, I'm actually surprised we actually have a Stormlight section at our Barnes and Noble.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, no, it's fun. It's wonderful. But today we're going to be talking about predictions. Now, Scott, why don't you start it off? What are some of your predictions for characters you'd like to see, some things, some epic moments, or even locations you can't wait to visit?
I know that Brandon Sanderson said this is going to be like a 2-part epic, right? So books 1 through 5, and then another 5 books, basically. Mm-hmm. So I feel like a lot of big things are going to happen in the next book. And one of my biggest theories is actually one of the main characters will end up dying. So for me, that's going to, it's a decision between, like, Kaladin, Dalinar, Shallan. That's basically the 3 main characters, in my opinion. So I feel like one of them might end up dying. This is a crazy theory, by the way, but, like, for me, that just seems like a likely thing to happen since it's like a big ending. But I feel like if I were to choose one, it'd probably be Dalinar, but we'll see what happens.
See, that's a cool one, especially there has to be a big character death, because from what I understand, the reason why he split it up into 2 parts is actually, I might be getting this wrong, because I remember him talking about this a long time ago, but the reason why he did this was actually the fear that he had when it came to Wheel of Time. He didn't want to, in case he were to have passed away, you could at least have closure within books 1 to 5 rather than having to read another 10,000 pages. I think that might be the case, because he talked about, like, he actually has a contingency plan just in case something were to happen to him. But when it comes to me, the characters that I most likely I feel like are going to die is, I think, Adolin, or someone that, like, Kaladin is a good possibility.
I hope it's not Kaladin.
Yeah.
I'll be so sad if it's Kaladin.
Who knows what's going to happen with that, though? Dalinar seems like the person, because now that they have 2 bondsmiths, we have Navani and Dalinar. Who knows what happens? You could, Navani, like, now that you know how to write, Dalinar, do you want to write your last will and testament? Nah, we're good. We don't have to worry about that.
But also, like, it's the fact that the duel is going to happen, or, like, the duel of champions, basically. And Dalinar wants to choose himself. So it just feels, I feel like it would be too easy if he just won, So I'm expecting him to lose. Either that or a different champion ends up being picked.
I have a weird theory for this. I think it's actually going to be Renarin, because out of everyone, he's the one that's the most unpredictable, because he was supposed to die but didn't because Yasna spared him. And this seems like something that might actually happen, where you're putting faith into the one person you don't think. Though I'm more concerned about who Odium's champion is, because it probably won't be Moash unless he's doing some Daredevil stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it might be that L guy, right? At the very end. But at the same time, I'm not sure. That's a big prediction, actually. Who the champion will be. I feel like there's not enough, at least to me, there wasn't enough evidence to point to anyone. Like Rabonio's dead. I mean, Rabonio wasn't really a fighter anyways.
Nah, he kind of died real easy.
But I don't know if Moash as the champion, just...
It seems too predictable. That's the problem. Like, that seems like... You told me that during Oathbringer, I've been like, yeah, I can believe this. But now... not
especially
so much.
Now that he's blind, so I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's even a possibility anymore.
Well, the one that we know, for at least for Dalinar, is Kaladin won't be the champion. That's the one thing, unless he's like the replacement of the replacement of the replacement. That might be it. But that's like the interesting thing. Now, when it comes to POV chapters, I want to see a little more Renarin chapters. I kind of want to see more chapters with in Bridge 4, because I like that whole thing they had in Oathbringer. Like, I'd like to see more, even though he's a hit or miss character for a lot of people. I want to see another Lopin chapter a little bit. I think that would be a lot of fun. Yeah, he was great in Dawn Shard. I'd like to see more things, especially when it comes to like. So we had some of the weird interlude chapters with this, with like Cheery Cheery. I'm like, oh my god, we're getting like a creature POV. This is great. But I'd like to see some more maybe POV chapters, maybe from a few heralds. Like, maybe it would be cool to see one from Ishar, the person that Kaladin's trying to find. Would be an interesting one to have, or even maybe like a chapter from Lift again. Like, I kind of missed the Lift chapters a little bit.
For POVs that I wanted, Lift was probably my number one, because I loved what was the book called again?
Edge Dancer.
And Edge Dancer. It was just called Edge Dancer. Okay. Yeah. So that one was really fun. I like Lift's POVs just because they're so lighthearted and like funny. So getting more of that would be great. And Renarin as well, just because I feel like he was barely in this book.
Yeah, even though he drops this huge information, especially there was that moment where they had that conversation, like, I think I know who should be the champion, and they cut to the end of it and they never bring it up again. So maybe there might be some sleight of hand going on.
Yeah. And also I feel like Taravangian doesn't even know who his champion is going to be, because he sort of indirectly asked Hoyd. If you remember in the epilogue, he's like, if you were to pick a champion, who would you pick? And like, that's an obvious like sleight of hand trying to like let him pick for you, but it didn't happen. So
it's like the equivalent of like, because he knows he's super powerful. It's like Hoyd / Wit's like, I'm just going to use cheat codes. I have all these magic systems I could use. And like, nah, you're good. Yeah, maybe it might be someone, the most unlikely person, or someone. I always felt like, if we're going to do this, maybe it even might be like a Turncloak type of situation, where someone from Team Dalinar switches over or something could be a possibility, or someone that, it's going to be one of those where it's going to be a lose-lose situation.
I mean, they'll have to build up to it. I feel like the next book might be, the part 1 might be like a build up to the duel between champions. And then like, well, if they can establish, Brandon Sanderson can establish a good champion, or how, because I can't see it. I can't see someone we know on Dalinar's side turning over at this moment,
It's one of those things where sometimes things can be tested and people can also be corrupted in a way. Like, if I were to do something like plot-wise, it could also be Adolin. Like, who's the better champion but the person that won all those shard plates in Words of Radiance? And then you'd have like the Renarin stuff, like brother against brother. Or maybe it might just be something like weird and tinfoily, like Dalinar's dead wife comes back as a spooky ghost. The one person that Dalinar has to face is the person that he killed involuntarily, but now he has to kill them again.
That would be interesting, but I feel like
it isn't.
Unlikely.
Yeah. So again, tinfoil hat stuff. Now, I know the cool things that I love about this is that we're going to Shinovar. We're going to be seeing different locations. I can't wait to see. I think this is the book that we're actually going to get Seth's POV chapters. Are you excited for that?
Yes, I like Zath as a character. It's so unfortunate what happened with Taravangi, and I don't know. Zath like obviously has mental issues, and I want him to be clear of that. I want him to experience some closure. But now that Taravangian is odium, he's just gonna be haunted for a very long time, I feel.
Yeah. I'm interested to see, because one POV chapters that I loved all in Oathbringer was the relationship between Nightblood and Seth, because I thought they're such a great buddy cop duo. So I can't wait to see more Sword Nimi type of stuff. Like, that's the fun stuff. But now that we're going to Shinovar, we're going to be learning more about the honor blades and also Shin culture, because we learned a little bit kind of about how a lot of these events were actually started by Seth's father. So this is going to be interesting to see, especially maybe we might see some more amazing exotic chickens.
Yeah, definitely. You know what would be crazy if Zeth were the champion for Odium?
That one would be an interesting one too.
Do you think that Rock is gone now? Because I feel like him going back to his homeland is set up for his own POV chapter that might tie into what happens in book 5.
So from my understanding of this is that Brandon Sanderson wants to write a whole novella about the Hornier Peaks, and he's already set it up. You can have the whole trial, you can have all that stuff, because I loved Rock in this book because he's owning up to his responsibility, whereas his daughter Cord is like, nah, you don't have to do that. But he's like, yeah, I gotta. So, because there's a lot of weird things happening with like the Hornier Peaks, and especially because they have like the perpendicularity there. We'll see what happens with that. I liked Rock as a character. I'd like to see maybe more POV chapters on Bridge 4 characters that we don't normally see, like Sigzil or Kaladin's ex-girlfriend would be a fun one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I mainly want, since Kaladin is my favorite character, I wanted more Bridge 4 stuff, which was definitely not there in this book. So getting to see more of that in book 5 would be great. Like Rock, Sigzil. We also got Scar and Drehi as well. So I miss them basically.
Yeah, it's like the family. Like you want that family reunion a little bit, and that's the thing. That's when it comes to this book. I love that when it came to Rythm of War, we were getting like interesting POV chapters from Liren and even a POV chapter from Kaladin's mom. I'd like that type of stuff a whole lot. Like it'd be interesting to see again, maybe POV chapters for some heralds, or maybe some POV chapters even from Syl, because we had that amazing Syl interlude, where it'd be interesting to see stuff like that again. Maybe even POVs from their Spren would be a cool one, because now that we have 10 days, we have this thing called the Percy Jackson scenario, where it's going to be at the last minute, at the last second, at the last microsecond. Everyone has to come together at the end for that 10-day limit, because now we're on the rails.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. I want more Adolin and Kaladin interactions. That's what I want.
I love their really glum. I thought it was the wedding party, but I thought it was like, oh man, this is a really glum surprise party where everyone's supposed to surprise Kaladin. It's like, hey guys, I'm just gonna sit over there. But we didn't get that. But I love that the bridge boy type of stuff. That would, yeah, I love the relationship, especially how it's kind of growing a little bit every step of the way. Oh man, I can't even imagine after 5 all the other books, because I think I feel like there's going to be like a time skip, because it doesn't seem appropriate to keep continuing depending on what happens. It could be interesting to have like a 15 or even 30-year time skip a little bit. Let everyone grow up, have almost like the Boruto type of stuff where you have the kids. You call it Stormlight the Next Generation, or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, Boruto is not even that good. So
no, okay, yeah. You know what? Maybe that's okay. No, I don't like Boruto, but that's the first thing that pops into my head. Well, no, because then you can have Kaladin be an awful dad, even though that's not his character.
No. Kaladin would be a great dad. I don't know what you're saying.
Oh yeah, no. Sorry, Kaladin's a great dad, but what is it? Aladdin or whatever you just changed it to a B, or Baladin is just a jerk. Oh man, we're slipping. Oh no, then you'd have Moash and you'd have his daughter. Oh god, I hate this. Stop. Oh
no. No, Moash does not deserve redemption.
Oh no, they're gonna have them. Oh no, I just imagine just Brandon Sanderson trolling, and then Cowden had a flashback where there was a swing that he sat on and talked about how no one loved him, and then he'd have, oh god. Oh, okay, we're talking way too much about this dumb thing that will never happen, and if it does, I'm jumping into the chasm.
I mean, a time skip is reasonable. That part of it is reasonable.
Yeah, a time skip would be really reasonable. Now, are there any like tin hat foil theories that you absolutely you keep thinking about ever since finishing Rythm of War for the next book?
I don't think this is a tin hat one, but I really want Maya and Adolin to bond. I'm really hoping for a great moment there. And like Adolin finally gets to be a Knight Radiant. But I don't even know what order he would be in. Honor Sprint, right? Because it's an Honor Sprint, so of course he'd be a Windrunner. But
yeah, he'd be the windiest of the Windrunners. Oh man, his like ornate like shard plate, once he gets it, he won't be able to decide what it is. That'd be the great moment when he does his fourth ideal.
Yeah, what was I saying? My bad. Of course he would be a Windrunner. In terms of tinfoil ones, it would be interesting to see, since we now found out like the leader of the Ghostbloods is Kelsier, but I don't think we would see him anytime soon, I feel. But it would be great to get something with him, like actually there.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun to see as well, especially maybe even the whole thing with actually confronting Shalad. Oh my god, I almost said
Shalana.
For some reason, I got it both wrong because I thought Charlemagne and Shaladin. Okay, 1 second. Oh, great. Thank you, Christopher Lee, for that, I guess. Charlemagne. Okay. See, that would be actually really cool to see, especially maybe even seeing Kelsier confronting Shallan in that way. And because people have the connection with Kelsier, oh, he's the good guy, and you see him do something horrendous, would be interesting to me.
I hope he doesn't do something horrendous, because I like Kelsier a lot.
I feel like this is if I'm going to my tinfoil hat theories, is that I think he's going to show that Shallan isn't the real personality. There's another one. She was never the real one. Kind of how like we had Formless. I thought that's what was going to happen. The big reveal is that Shallan was the first personality, and the real one is not her. I think that's was always been my big tinfoil hat, because we have no reason to believe she's the real one.
I think in the beginning that's what I thought, because of the whole Formless storyline. But after the resolve with Veil, I feel like that's almost not going to happen now. Like it just doesn't feel like it's going to happen. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because I feel like maybe there's still some more things that the Ghostbloods haven't told Shallan, because she was going to get answers, but I feel like those weren't the answers that we were going to get in the narrative of the story, but rather there's something even far worse at hand, because I feel like maybe her whole family are all Ghostbloods, and it's going to be that huge backstep, because we never had in the story her confronting any of her siblings, which is real weird in a narrative standpoint of making a big deal at the end of Oathbringer. Oh, they're all here, we're all happy dappy. And then you never see them the entire time.
Yeah, except for that one scene.
Though I think my biggest tinfoil hat theory is that I think Odium's going to win. I think that might be the big thing that's going to happen. And it's going to go from what happens next. Because the way that we have the story, it's in a way we're at the halfway point where things like this could possibly happen. We have to have the reconciliation, or maybe even the terms that they made might be changed. Pray that they aren't changed further type of situation.
I think it's likely that Odium will win. It just feels too easy if Dalinar would win. And then like the fact that nobody knows Taravangian is Odium as well is a big thing, which brings us to cultivation, right? Because I feel like she's definitely evil or just...
She has malicious intent.
Yeah, exactly. Just not good for our heroes, basically. I don't know what, because we know so little about her besides the fact that she's helped Dalinar and Lift and Taravangian, but yeah.
Yeah, the way that I've always seen her is she's always just there, but there's never ever a reason to think that she's evil, except that every time she has her influence, it's always influencing it in either her favor or a way to, pretty much destroy Odium in a way where she even pretty much just admits, like, yeah, the reason why I did this is for Taravangian and be Odium. This is why I made you big brain, smart, galaxy brain. But I have a feeling it's going to be like, it's a lot easier to control someone you're manipulating in this way than Odium, who is a person that's just, I can do whatever I want. Now you have someone that actually kind of cares a little bit, so you can like nudge them in a certain way where they're easier to control through their personality rather than having the original as a default.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, it feels like, yes, cultivation has manipulated Taravangian, and in some ways, I feel like Taravangian as himself still has his own sort of passions or ambitions. He wants to save the Cosmere, and whatever that means. So, like, for me, I think saving the Cosmere, considering everything we've learned about Taravangian, how he just sacrifices whoever or kills like anybody to get what he wants in the name of saving people.
What happens when you have a murder hospital?
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think his philosophy is also like for the greater good rather than Odium's like, I just want everyone to not feel pain anymore. Here, everyone, have some Xanax.
Oh, interesting. Like, now that Taravangian is Odium, I'm curious about how he's going to interact with Moash.
Oh, I feel like Moash is going to be always the punching bag.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be tossed aside or something.
Well, that's because he also was given the title that the Pursuer had, and I feel like the Undefeatable is just like a cursed thing. It's a title that's always going to be cursed, like Defense Against the Dark Arts. Like, it's just, Moash is just going to be cursed in this way. Or maybe we might even see a turn heel. This is where you'd have the moment where Moash becomes Dalinar's champion, even though that would be dumb. It sounds like something that could happen. You have that turn heel. You always have to look at the least likely things, because sometimes the things that are the most obvious can be way far off, and sometimes left field might become the right thing, because we see this with Mistborn a lot. We see this with a lot of those narratives where the thing you think about the least, those pieces start to come together where it works. I mean, even when it comes to all the other shards and stuff, not all of them are good. So it's interesting to see why Odium and all of them are like locked all into that planetary system. There's a specific reason for that, and it's not good.
Another thing I feel like we left out quite a lot is Venli. Because she got a pretty big part in this book, so I feel like we're building her, or Brandon is building her up for something in the next book, and I'm not exactly sure what. But considering she already left, I don't think she's gonna come back in 10 days. so I don't think she's gonna be there for the duel, but maybe she'll be important afterwards.
I feel like it's going to be one of those things that she's going to be like put a pin in it, because I feel like if they're going to do the time skip, suddenly the listeners are going to expand and be bigger. Like they're kind of rebuilding their nation in that way. Could be a possibility, especially with like all the terms, no matter what, the singers and the fused and the listeners have to coincide in a way. So you're going to have different factions in that way. Will be interesting to see. Though, here's the biggest thing that I can't wait to see. Are we going to see Kaladin swear his fifth ideal, or are we going to see our fifth ideal in this fifth book?
Yeah, that's a big thing. I hope we get to see it, just because like I don't want to wait so long before he swears his fifth ideal. But it also feels, well, I just hope we do. If I were to make a bet, I'd say yes, just because the fifth book is definitely going to be a big one, and like we've been building up Kaladin for this entire time. And we sort of got that like steal from us in Oathbringer, where he didn't swear the fourth ideal. So I feel like Brandon wouldn't do that again. You know what I mean? But yeah.
It's like kind of like in each book, okay, Carolyn's gonna get his new ideal, and then you get to Oathbringer, like, what? Wait, he doesn't? No, we want that. We like that. We like that normalcy a little bit here. But that would be a fun one. I'd love to see possibly like Yasna or someone that we don't think get their 5th ideal. I've always thought that Yasna might actually have all 5 ideals, but that's just something that's probably wrong. But it's one of those where we'll see what happens with all this stuff. And that's the interesting thing. It's like when it comes to ideals, they always change. Because the one that I know what's probably going to happen is Seth's going to get his new ideal, because I think when it comes to the Skybreakers, he has to almost become their leader, define law in a way. So he's going to help Shinovar in some way of like, oh, you all told me I was wrong. Look at this. I got powers now. I'm right. Finger guns. Or I guess it would be finger shard bows. Pew pew. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. But are there any things that you are excited to see, or is there any closing things you want to bring up before we end this little video?
Other than seeing a Bridge 4 reunion, that's my biggest thing. I want to see that. Like, I feel like they have to do that, you know, like to honor book 1.
Yes, that will be a great one. The thing that I'm excited to see is who the last POV chapter is going to be for the prologue. I think it's going to be Gavilar, and it's going to put all the pieces together. So when you read them all in order, because it's pretty much a novella at that point, you're going to be like, oh no, we were all wrong. Oh no. Oh no. Because we'll have to see what happens with that, because I feel like all the events leading up to what's happening right now are nefarious, and we're going to have the moment of, I think the biggest thing that might actually happen is the one thing I think we forgot to talk about was how anti-void light and all the new magic systems are going to work, because what happens with like a surge binder actually tries to breathe that stuff in, that your powers get like super enhanced and stuff. Is this what happened to like Ashen and their home planet? They're gonna blow up the whole planet by mistake with this whole duel? Who knows? Maybe that could happen too. Anything's possible. Let's go to another system, I guess.
I mean, I think for the lights and the rhythms and stuff like that, we got a lot of info from this book, and I think the biggest thing is that, you know, they can kill each other now, permadeath. So we'll see how that goes.
We will have to find that out. Well, thank you so much, Scott, for joining us. I really appreciate you taking your time out.
Thanks for having me.
Where can they find you and your amazing content?
Basically, I don't use Twitter and Instagram that much. So I think the easiest way to keep track of what I'm doing is through my YouTube channel. So it's either Dreamlit or Blue Lotus. You can either type in Dream and then LET, and then you'll find me, or Blue Lotus and then try typing in like Avatar afterwards, and you'll probably find that channel.
Well, if you want to find me, everyone, you can find me on social media at Suda41 on Twitter. You can also subscribe. What do you guys think? What are your tinfoil hat theories? Are there any things we missed, or things that you're just like, oh my God, we need to talk about this, everyone? Just leave that in the comments down below. Maybe if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Well, everyone, thank you guys so much. And like always, may your food and drink ever be tasteful. May your books be filled with fantasy and adventure. Bye, everyone. See ya.